Well, I can tell you one thing for sure. If I controlled the weather, which I get accused of quite often in public, I would not bring us the weather we have seen so far this December. Yet another round of rain. It tried to snow in quite a few locations, but melted about as fast as it did. That round of rain and snow are working their way out, and we are looking at another round of wind tonight for the inland northwest. And for that reason, we are back under a KREM weather impact alert. I know. It seems like these things aren't ending, but we are talking another round of wind tonight, strong enough that we have the potential for more downed trees, knocked out power, everything, right on the heels of what we just went through. And while some crews are still trying to get power back on for those who have not yet had it restored. So overnight, basically until 3 a.m., wind will gust at 45 to 55 miles per hour. And we've already seen some pretty incredible gusts here early on this evening. And for that reason, the National Weather Service has issued another round of wind advisories. Wind advisories stretch from the Columbia Basin through eastern Washington, down into the Palouse, through the entirety of North Idaho and into northwestern Montana. There are a couple of spots, a couple of hot spots in that graphic that you see. Think Lewis and Clark Valley. There you have a decent shot of seeing another 60-mile-per-hour wind gust, but here in Spokane and for most of our region that can watch us on TV, 55 miles per hour is about as strong as it gets for you. Peak wind gusts so far this evening. This is as of 9 p.m. on December 18th. 52 miles per hour here in Spokane, 48 down in Richland and 41 down in Walla Walla. Lewiston, 47, but this is just the start. 37 in Coeur d'Alene and 40 up in Deer Park. Wind is going to get stronger in the next couple of hours. I think the heart of our event seriously is between now and 1 a.m. By 3 a.m., it's back to the calmer side of things, and by the time the sun comes up tomorrow, we should be on the backside of the worst of it, but with clear skies and that atmospheric disturbance there, we are going to hang on to some blustery wind throughout much of the day. So during the day tomorrow, we're just going to go ahead and say maybe 40 to 50 early in the day, and then calming to about 20 to 30 throughout the day and staying there on Saturday as well. It's just that weather pattern. By the time we get to Sunday, we should finally be on the backside of it. So let's talk the next few hours, because to me, that's the most interesting part of this. 9 p.m., we're already clocking a 52. Wind says it's going to be at about 38. These are supposed to be our peak wind gusts. See the 41 around 11 p.m.? Sure, it's only 3 miles per hour stronger than what we're supposed to be doing right now. But if we've already clocked a 52 and we go up by 3 and we just do a little bit of math, it's likely we clock that 55 mile per hour wind gust somewhere around 11 p.m. And then things start calming down. But notice wind stays strong through 1 a.m. And then when we get back into this 35, 33 range, it's still strong wind. That wind is still strong enough that I would say, hey, it's going. Don't go wandering in the woods to start your day tomorrow. That's a pro tip right there. It will eventually calm down as our disturbance moves through. But once again, it is a classic wind maker for us. A classic wind maker is basically a low traversing southern British Columbia and a frontal boundary draped across the northwest. Every single big wind event we get here in the inland northwest is from that weather pattern. This weather pattern right here. Here's our low, here's our frontal boundary. It's another shot of moisture. You might be hearing a lot about that atmospheric river. Yes, it is taking aim at much of the western seaboard. However, this one's moving. Notice how much it moves from north to south in just the past 12 hours. That movement means that we aren't looking at the same extent of flooding, but we are looking at some heavier rainfall as it moves through. Up in the mountains, that's coming down as snow. Winter storm warnings in effect for the Cascades. We're talking 12 inches of snow. There are some places that will pick up about 2 feet of snow by the time we get through the bulk of this, we'll say, and 45 mile per hour winds. Winds are a bigger contender in this one, especially when it comes to the snow. Winter storm warnings in effect for the Cascades. You get up into Sherman Pass, that's where you're looking at winter weather advisories. Winter weather advisories for 4th of July and Lookout Pass as well, and that's where we're looking at 4 to 9 inches of snow and wind blowing at about 30 miles per hour. Compared to the 50s and even the 75 we saw earlier this week, that doesn't sound like a lot, but it only takes wind sustained at 30 miles per hour to get a blizzard or blizzard conditions if you have snow blowing around. So when you have new snow, 4 to 9 inches and 30-mile-per-hour winds, it is worth noting, and I think that is going to be a bit of a battle. However, notice you get up into the Silver Valley already and 4th of July pass, it is coming down as rain. Rain north of town, so rain even where we saw quite a bit of snowfall earlier in the day. Quite a bit compared to what we've seen so far this season. You move up into the mountains and it is coming down as snow. Just took a look at the Schweitzer cam not that long ago. Definitely coming down as snow. Lookout Pass still coming down as snow. Good news. It is likely going to make a transition into rain at some point tonight with this stronger wind, but for the most part, we are looking at snow moving through. By tomorrow morning, though, it is back to sunshine, and back to sunshine in a pretty big way. Most of the Columbia Basin winds up nice and sunny. Even us here in eastern Washington, we get to see some sunshine. North Idaho, similar story, even over into Coeur d'Alene. It's a strong westerly flow that helps clear us out. But keep in mind, when we have sunshine in a pattern like this, we will oftentimes get atmospheric mixing. Sometimes I'll tell you about wind and I'll say, as soon as the sun goes down, you can expect that wind to calm down. That would be when the storm itself passes us and we're on the backside of it, and then you get rid of the sunshine. But when the storm moves through, the sun comes up, you can still get atmospheric mixing. Basically, the wind is still blowing pretty strong in the atmosphere overhead, and so that sunshine helps that wind mix all the way down to the surface or the ground and keeps the wind gusts stronger down near the ground. So during the day tomorrow, it's pretty likely we hang on to those 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts as we move through it. That's plenty of sunshine. Eventually, as we get into, say, Friday evening, we get our next round of clouds. These build ahead of a bit of a pattern shift heading into the weekend. More snow is expected over the Cascades, rain down in low elevations. Snow expected for us. Our snow levels as we get a little closer to the weekend do bump up around 3,500 feet on average. That keeps snow coming down in the mountains. That is good news for ski resorts across much of the inland Northwest. By Saturday morning, we are waking up to another round of snow. Snow comes down over the mountains. It's coming down pretty good up high. You should be able to make it over if you're doing any mountain pass driving. Say you're starting your holiday travel this weekend. Yeah, mountain passes aren't going to be great, but if you take them slow, you know how to do it. You got this. I believe in you. Then as we move through the weekend into Sunday, we'll likely get another round of moisture. You see where I'm going here? It's just kind of we're in this pattern where we keep repeating ourselves over and over and over. So next week winds up looking a lot like what we've seen these past few days, maybe minus the wind. Today's a good example of what's to come. By the time we get to Christmas week, forecast models suggest temperatures trend slightly above average. And they also suggest we hang on to this wet weather and in a big way. So are we going to see a white Christmas? No. I just don't think we have it in Spokane. You move up into the mountains, it's a completely different story because while we are seeing our temperatures climb up into the 40s each afternoon through the weekend and most of next week, temperatures top out below freezing Saturday and Sunday and for the foreseeable future up in the mountains once we get through tonight's wind. That means any bit of precipitation that heads our way will come down as snow in the mountains. That is a big change from where we've been for the majority of December. It's hard to believe we are more than halfway through the month. So for a majority of the month, our temperatures have been so warm, we just have not been able to get that snow to come down in the mountains. Changes over the weekend. We don't have much snow in the mountains. In fact, a lot of bases have zero snow, but we're going to start to see that change. By next week, we could be looking at a big difference, not just for us here in the inland Northwest, but for most of the Mountain West as cold starts to sink in. Tomorrow, we wake up to a little bit of wind. Our morning low of 33 degrees is about where our average high should be this time of year. Then we climb all the way up to near 40 under sunny skies with that little bit of a blustery wind. Saturday, It slowly starts to shift as a chance of showers returns to the region, and it's most likely a chance of snow showers, believe it or not, even if it falls here in Spokane. Sunday, we top out near 40. By Monday, we're starting to warm up with a bit of a pattern shift. And so if we climb back into the 40s next week, what becomes really difficult for us is to keep any of the snow that falls. You're probably looking at the 7-day forecast and going, wait a minute, there's a lot of snow on that between now and Christmas. There's a lot that could change. If we were to have snow on the ground right now, I would say we would keep it between now and Christmas because all of those temperatures would trend quite a bit cooler. It'd be two-factor. One, we would just reflect all the sunlight and keep that snow on the ground to cool us. Imagine the ice in the bottom of a cooler. Two, it just wouldn't be the same battle that we've been facing every day with the wind and the sun and the bare ground that can warm up. So next few days, there's no real great chance of snow. You might see it, it's gonna melt. We probably don't get a white Christmas. I definitely am eating my words for saying that in the long-range winter forecast.